Two things happened on October the 14th, 2025. Microsoft ended support for Windows 10, leaving millions of users frustrated by forcing them to move to Windows 11 or jump through a bunch of hoops to get extended updates for another year. On that same date, Zorin OS 18 was released. That wasn't a coincidence. Let's get into it. If you're here, you know the drill. I make videos for all kinds of scenarios, helping you move from Windows 10 to Windows 11, even if your hardware is not supported. I've done videos on helping you navigate through all of the hoops Microsoft is requiring just to get extended updates for Windows 10 for one more year. And I've also done videos for alternative solutions to Microsoft altogether. For instance, using Chrome OS Flex as an alternative. However, if you Google a Linux distribution that is the closest thing to Windows 11, two things will pop up: Linux Mint and Zorin OS. I've done a video in the past on Linux Mint, and I need to do an updated one, but today we're going to check out Zorin OS 18. And I know what you're thinking, Linux is not a complete replacement for Microsoft, and it's not, but it's continuing to get better and better. They've made lots of improvement for gaming, especially if you have an NVIDIA chip, and there are a ton of free and open source software applications out there that are good alternatives to a lot of the Microsoft applications that you currently use. And there are ways to run some of those Microsoft applications in Linux using Wine, etc. But today we're going to take a look at Zorin OS 18. This will also be my first look, so we're going to check it out together. But first, these videos take a lot of time and effort to produce, so check out today's sponsor. Are you using an unregistered version of Windows 11? Then you need to check out keysfan.com. Keysfan offers a wide range of products including Windows 11, Windows 10, and even older versions like Windows 7. Need Office software? They got you covered with keys for Office 2019 and Office 2021. And here's the best part. You can save big with exclusive coupon codes by using my code RKT50 to get 50% off all Windows series. That means you can get Windows 11 Pro for less than $20. But wait, there's more. For Microsoft Office, use my code RKT62 to get a massive 62% off. Buying is super easy. Just add your chosen product key to your cart, apply the coupon code, and pay securely via PayPal or credit card. You'll receive your genuine activation key in no time. Once you have your product key, go back to the activation page, click on Change Product Key, enter the product key you just purchased, and click Activate. Be sure to check out keysfan.com. Real quick, if you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel. It helps me out tremendously, and it gets my videos out to more people. Thank you, and let's get back to the video. Okay, before we get started, you will need a flash drive with at least 4 gigabytes, and you should go ahead and make sure that there's no information on the flash drive that you need to save. We'll download Zorin OS 18, and we'll download Rufus so that we can create a bootable disk. And then we'll run through the setup and we'll check out some of its features. Let's hop on the computer. Okay, from the browser of your choosing, I'm going to open up Google and just type in Zorin OS 18. That's going to bring us to the Zorin site here. Now, the first thing you're going to see is Zorin OS 18. They do have a pro version. That's not the version that we're going to download today, but I will explain the differences. The core functionality is the same. The pro version comes with email support and help with the initial setup if you need it. It also gives you some different desktop layouts if that's important to you. And then it also comes pre-installed with a lot of the common software you would use, Office Suite, Video Editor, but all of the software that it comes pre-installed with is free and open source, and you can download it for free yourself. However, I'll recommend it because the money goes to the developers, and it's always good to support the developers. And it looks like the cost for that is $47.99 if you want to purchase the pro version and support the developers. There's also an education version here that comes with educational software for schools and students. We are going to download Zorin OS 18 Core. So I'm going to go right here to download, and it's asking to register for their newsletter, which you do not have to do. I'm just going to click down here where it says skip to download. And that download has started up in the top right hand corner of my screen. And it looks to be about 3.5 gigabytes. So I will skip forward till that download is complete. Alright, once that's complete, it will end up here in your downloads folder. So you can see I have the Zorin OS 18 Core 64-bit ISO, and now we need the Rufus tool so that we can create a bootable USB flash drive. So I'm going to go back to my browser, and I'm just going to type in Rufus. And it's going to be this first one here. I will caution you, just like most other websites, there are ads all over the place. Do not click on any of these ads. If you do, you will be commenting below that Rufus has a virus, when it in fact does not. You just did not follow directions. I'm going to click on the second one here. You can click on either or. I like the portable version here. This is an ad. Just click the X in the top right corner and the download will start. And the download is complete. So I'm going to close this out. Now I have both of the tools that I need here. I have Rufus and I have my ISO. So I'm going to go ahead and run Rufus. Make sure that you have that flash drive plugged in. I'm going to tell it yes for the user account control. I'm going to tell it no for updates for now, but you can let Rufus look for updates online. And it's indicating my flash drive here at the very top. I'm going to go ahead over here to select, and I'm going to select the Zorin OS 18 ISO that we downloaded. I'm just going to double click that. I'm going to leave all of the other settings at their defaults, and I'm going to click start. And on this next screen, I'm just going to click OK. And Rufus needs to download an additional file, and I'm going to say yes. And now Rufus is just warning me that all of the data on my device will be deleted. I'm going to click OK. And Rufus is creating our bootable flash drive. I will fast forward until Rufus is complete. Alright, Rufus is complete, so I'm going to close this out. We will now need to boot from this flash drive that we just created. I'm on a Dell desktop on this test PC, so for me that's F12. You'll need to know which key gets you into your boot menu once you restart. I'll put a graphic on the screen here for some of the most common ones. If you don't see yours, just Google your manufacturer and boot menu key. So I'm going to go ahead and reboot to the flash drive. Alright, and I'm going to come down here, and for me this is that flash drive, and I'm going to hit enter. And on this screen, if you have an NVIDIA graphics chip, use the third option down. I do not on this PC, so I'm going to use the first option. This is the first screen you're going to come to. Make sure you make your language selection here. Mine is English. Now you've got two options here. If you select try Zorin OS, you'll be able to navigate through Zorin and check it out from the flash drive, and it's not actually installing it or replacing Microsoft on your computer. This will give you a chance to test your hardware, make sure there's no compatibility issues. If you've already tried it or know you want to go ahead and install it, and then you come over here to the install Zorin OS, I'm going to go ahead and install it for this demonstration. And for my keyboard layout, it's going to be English in English US. It says type here to test your keyboard, and mine is working, so I'm good. I'm going to click continue. All right, you've got some options here. Download updates while installing Zorin OS. Saves time after the installation, so I'm going to keep that checked. Install third-party software for graphics and Wi-Fi hardware and additional media formats. And I recommend you doing this so that it picks up any drivers that you may need. And on the last one, it gives you the option here to not participate in the census. The census lets Zorin OS developers just count the number of users anonymously. I'm going to leave that unchecked and click continue. On this next screen, you have to make a decision here. I'm going to do something that I don't really recommend you doing. I'm going to install Zorin OS alongside Windows Boot Manager just because this is a test computer and I want to keep Windows 10 on here. The reason I don't necessarily recommend that is because it can cause problems with your Windows installation, especially if you have BitLocker encryption on your hard drive. On this computer, I have secure boot disabled and BitLocker encryption is disabled, and I know the risk, so I'm going to install this alongside Windows. But if you're trying to get away from Microsoft completely and you want a clean and fresh install, then you should use the second selection here to erase disk and install Zorin OS. However, that will remove all your programs, documents, photos, and everything, so keep that in mind. I'm going to set this up to dual boot, so I'm going to leave the first option selected. It has indicated my hard drive here in this first box. You can allocate drive space by how much you want to leave for the current installation and how much you want to leave for Zorin. I'm going to leave it split the way that it is here now. I'm completely fine with that. And I'm going to click install now. It's just letting me know that it has to resize the partition and those changes can't be undone. I'm okay with that. You should not have these options if you made the second selection to just clean the drive. And it's basically giving me the same information again, and I'm going to click continue. On the next screen here, it's just confirming the time zone that you're in, and for me that is correct, so I'm going to click continue. It's going to ask for your name here and your computer name, and I'm not going to make a change to the computer name or the username. I will pick a password. You actually have to make a password selection here, but this is not like a Microsoft account. This is for your local machine. Now I'm going to make the selection here to log in automatically. You can make that choice for you. I'm going to click continue, and it's copying files. I'll fast forward to the next part. All right, and once that installation is complete, we're going to go ahead and restart. It's telling me to remove that flash drive and then press enter. All right, now for me, because I'm dual booting, it's giving me the option here to boot to Zorin or boot Windows Boot Manager. And I'm going to boot into Zorin. If you followed my advice and did not do that, yours should just boot straight into Zorin. But I have Zorin in the first order, so if I don't do anything, it will automatically boot into Zorin. Now, welcome to Zorin OS 18. And remember, this is my first look at it too. I wanted it to be close to a first time experience for you moving over from Windows. So I'm actually going to go ahead and click the Start Tour. Open the menu to launch apps. You can search for apps and find shortcuts to common locations in the menu. Next, choose your desktop with Zorin appearance. Select a different layout for your desktop and change its visual style. I'm going to click on Launch Appearance. These are the layouts that it offers you in the core version, and with the pro version, you get just some additional layouts down here. That's not important to me. I'm actually going to keep this layout that's here. And under theme, I'm actually going to go to a dark theme because that's better for me visually. You can change your accent colors, and there's some other here under applications related to theme, icons, cursor, shell. I'm not going to go through those for now. Then you go down here to under effects. Jelly mode is just kind of where you take it in your window. See how it kind of jiggles around like jelly? I'm going to keep that off. Desktop cube lets you switch between workspaces and 3D. You can play around with all that. I'm not going to use any of that stuff. If you need to make some changes to your desktop, centered, scaled, stretched, zoomed. If we click these, this should add some items to our desktop. Home trash, we'll just do that for now. You can change your window placement, advanced window tiling. I'm not going to change anything on here, but that's essentially, yeah. So see your window tiling up here. This is good if you need multiple applications opened, split screen, that type of thing. That I will actually leave opened. We got taskbar settings. We've got fonts. I'm not going to go through any more appearance options, but be sure to tweak that for your liking. I'm going to go to next. So here's the interesting one. You can connect your online accounts, much like you added a Microsoft account in Microsoft for access to your OneDrive and Outlook and those things. I don't know why you would want to, but you can add your Microsoft account here and then have access to your OneDrive. And then of course you can use your Microsoft applications like Excel, Word, PowerPoint from the web, so you don't lose access to that stuff. I'm going to click on it, but I'm not going to connect any online accounts. You can connect your Google account, your Microsoft account, your 365 plus OneDrive account, the Microsoft Exchange, and so on and so on. I am not going to do this step. The purpose is to get away from Microsoft, but this does give you access to those services while not actually being on Microsoft Windows. So I'm going to skip that part. If you need to add your Google account or Microsoft account, you can do that there. I'm going to go to next. Link your phone and computer with Zorin Connect. Integrate your devices to sync notifications, reply to messages on the desktop, share files, use your phone as a remote control for your computer, and more. That's very similar to Microsoft's integrated application where you can link your cell phone to Windows so you get your notifications and everything on your computer. I've also done a video recently on a free and open source version of that one called KDE Connect. You can check that video out. It was decent. It was not as robust as Microsoft's Phone Link, and I have not tried Zorin Connect. So if you want me to do a video on that and check it out, drop me a comment below and we will review that functionality. Use software to find and install apps. Discover great apps through search, browsing, and our recommendations. And you can launch the software here or learn more about installing apps. I'm just going to click this launch software. This is also going to be an option over here that we'll get to in a minute. And you have some categories here, editor's choice, new and updated. Let's click on the create category. You can also just search what you're specifically looking for. This is going to list a ton of stuff in alphabetical order, so we could scroll through here all day, which I will not. However, Blender is software I have featured on the channel before. Darktable is good for photographers. We won't go through all of this, but you should. But you're going to find a lot of this stuff on here that I featured on the channel before as alternatives like LibreOffice. You have, well, it looks like these are already installed. And let's look at the installed apps while we're here. Calculator, calendar, camera app, clock, contacts, everything that you would expect to use. There's those LibreOffice apps, system monitor, video, Zorin Connect, your files, settings, all this other fun stuff. Make a list of what you use on a daily basis, whether that's office software, video editors, and there is a good viable alternative, and I've most likely created a video on it in the past. I'm going to close this out and go to next in our tour. That's it. We hope that you've enjoyed. I'm going to close that out. Starting down here from the bottom, you've got your time and date like you would expect. We want to check here under our settings because one of the first things you want to do is make sure that you have connectivity. If you have a wireless internet, you want to make sure that your Wi-Fi adapter was recognized. If you have Bluetooth enabled, you're going to want to make sure that your Bluetooth was recognized, video drivers, etc. I have wired internet and it has recognized that and it has connected, so I am in good shape there. Got some volume control here. Now, I do not have a Bluetooth adapter on this desktop. The fact that it was not found was expected. It has recognized my built-in audio adapter. You have some power modes here, connected devices, power saving, and you can decide what happens when you press the power button. Okay, over to the left, let's right click. Now they're actually calling this a taskbar, and you can again access system monitor, settings, taskbar settings, show the desktop from there. This is going to take us back to that software list where we were just at. We have what is essentially a file explorer here, desktop documents downloads, to which I don't have any yet. And it comes pre-installed with Brave. I'm not going to get into browser wars here. If you don't like Brave, you can download something else. You can pretty much use almost any browser you want to, but you've got your Brave browser here. You can set Brave as your default. I'm going to tell it maybe later. I'm not going to send diagnostic reports or share private and anonymous product insights. And I'm going to click finish, and then that brings us to the Brave screen here. And remember, a lot of your apps that you use probably have a web version that you could use as well if there's not a compatible program here. This, moving over, looks very similar to a Windows start menu here. Got accessories, files, text, color, weather. I'm going to go back. Got graphics, image viewer, LibreOffice Draw. I'm going to go back. Got our Brave browser, some web apps, and whatever else you might decide to install. And we got Office, contacts, all of our Libre applications, sound and video, Browsero, camera, Rhythmbox, sound recorder, videos, system tools. You got your disks, your main menu, parental controls, power statistics, settings, software, software updater, startup applications, system monitor, tour, upgrade, Zorin OS, Windows app support, made available by Wine, and it wanted us to come back over here to install Windows App Support. Run Windows apps in Zorin OS with Wine and Bottles. This package installs the Wine compatibility layer as well as Bottles. Keep in mind this will give you access to some Windows apps, but not all. If I click the install here, it's going to prompt me for that system password that I created earlier, and I'm going to authenticate. This seems to be taking quite some time to prepare that, so I'm going to minimize it. We'll come back to it. You've got your utilities here, and you've got help. The terminal is a big part of Linux distributions for completing actions. Think of like the Windows command prompt. We won't be addressing that in today's video, but if you're interested in a more in-depth Zorin OS video, let me know in the comments. Password and keys, and then access to all the folders here to which we do not have any information in yet. And this is still preparing. That seems to take quite some time. Wine is a compatibility layer. Bottles is a manager that creates isolated environments called bottles, which function like containers for Windows applications. Not all will work, but it may be the difference for you. If there's a couple of programs that you just have to have, you can certainly see if they will run in Wine. We are loading app details now. Let's finish setting up, and I did click the show more here to show you where this says some Windows apps may not be compatible with Windows App Support. That is so very true. Your computer and personal data may be vulnerable to a breach when running Windows apps from unknown sources. So don't run things from unknown sources. I'm going to close that out. And now we have Bottles installed. We can browse our C drive. We'll do a separate video on running Windows applications in Linux. And of course, you can still sign into Microsoft on the web to access your Microsoft 365 applications. I'm not going to do that here, but keep that in mind. Don't forget, you don't have to use this browser. You can use a different browser. And your right-click menu here is very similar to what you would expect in Windows. And just under System Details, that's the computer that I'm using and the version that I'm on, and it's recognized my Intel graphics. Don't notice any hardware issues, but your mileage may vary. I recommend you checking it out, making a list of the Windows programs you can't live without to see if they will run in Bottles. And that's about it. I'm sure I missed some stuff. This was my first look. I'll go back and do a deeper dive, and we can do a more in-depth video. That's it. And there you have it, a viable solution if you are really wanting to get away from the Microsoft ecosystem. Is it a one-for-one alternative? No, but there's a good chance that a lot of the software that you use on a day-to-day basis, that there is a free alternative or a web-based version. You can run it straight from the web. Either way, drop me a comment below, let me know what you think. Also, drop me a comment below for any future content you would like to see on this channel. And please do me a favor, like and share the video and subscribe to the channel. It really does help me grow and help me to continue to bring you these videos on a weekly basis. Don't forget to check out some of these other video suggestions. And as always, thank you for watching, and until next time.